Hey guys, today's the day you've all been waiting for. We're finally covering and reviewing SirDavis from Beyonce.
Typically, celebrity whiskeys can be kind of gimmicky, but I'm actually excited to try this one just because of the team that Beyonce surrounded herself with.
Beyonce partnered with Moet Hennessy, which is the first $500 billion European company. And they're responsible for Louis Vuitton, Hennessy, Dom Perignon, all these big names, really expensive and high-end. And she also partnered with someone else. Ryan, take it away.
In addition, she also partnered with Dr. Bill Lumsden, who's been in the whiskey world for about 40 years at this point, and he's worked with distilleries like Ardbeg and Glenmorangie, and he's actually gotten Master Distiller of the Year 5 different times. So she surrounded herself with some really good people, and in fact, he's also called the Willy Wonka of whiskey because he likes to experiment a lot with different flavor profiles and grains.
Candy is dandy, but liquor is quicker.
Right, which he did here. Because this bottle has a mash bill of 51% rye and 49% malted barley. So it's unique. You don't normally see malted barley and rye together, just those two.
Right.
And you're seeing it here. And this is obviously a rye whiskey, but with a lot of Scotch and Japanese whiskey influence. It's also finished with a sherry cask, and that's also going to evoke a lot of that sweetness from the sherry. So you're going to get a lot of different complex flavors here. It seems like I'm not usually into celebrity endorsed whiskeys. They don't normally hit the mark for me. But it seems like Beyonce did a really good job at surrounding herself with people that know how to make whiskey. SirDavis is named after Beyonce's great-grandfather, who was a moonshiner. And I guess she wanted to pay homage to her great-grandfather and to her heritage, and that's what we got here. Apparently, she's a big whiskey fan as well, right?
Yeah,
that's what I've been hearing.
I heard she's a big fan of Japanese whiskey, and you can kind of tell even in the bottle design here with the ribbed glass. It kind of reminds me of Hibiki, which is a famous Japanese distillery. They have a similar design, so right down to the bottle, you can see that Japanese whiskey influence in here.
And speaking of these types of influences, this bottle, even though it's an American whiskey, this one spelled whiskey without the E, as if it was a Japanese or a Scotch whiskey.
Other celebrity branded whiskeys in the past have kind of fallen flat. The latest one that I know of being Chris Stapleton, when he teamed up with Buffalo Trace to release Traveler. Didn't really surround himself with the right team for that one. It kind of fell flat, gimmicky. But this one I have high hopes for.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, that smells great.
You got like this amber sort of orangey color here, which I find interesting.
Definitely getting the rye spice and even a little cranberry notes in there too.
I get a lot of like cranberry and dark cherry notes. More so than I do the rye. Because the rye tends to be a little overpowering. You get a lot of that spice in there. I don't get that much spice. I do get some like nutmegs and cinnamon. I'm not getting that same like black pepper that you'd expect from a rye.
Yeah. So you can tell the sherry barrels had a pretty good influence on this. If you're getting the cherry and the cranberry notes in there, you can tell how much of an influence the sherry cask had on it.
Yeah.
You know, it's an 88 proof whiskey, so it's a little bit lower on the proof end, but honestly, it's fairly complex for an 88 proof whiskey.
Yeah, I think so too.
A lot going on there.
A lot. You get a lot of those cherry and cranberry notes right up front. That's the first thing I got.
Yep.
It's a very, very sweet whiskey. For people who are not huge whiskey fans and they just want to experiment and try something out, this is a great whiskey because it's so smooth and sweet, especially up front, but it still has some of that complexity.
And even though it's a rye whiskey, you don't get that sharp bite that you get in a lot of rye whiskeys. There's a lot more sweetness. This one's a lot tamer.
And that's because of that high percentage of malted barley in this. It kind of mellows out that rye. So this is fantastic. I mean, for it being a celebrity whiskey, this is great.
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying this. I mean, I think that Beyonce got with all the right people to make this, and I think that she did a really good job.
Yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised with this. Like we said before, when it comes to celebrity whiskeys, a lot of them can be gimmicky. In fact, you may have even seen our previous video where we went head-to-head with the Jack Daniel's Sinatra versus Heaven's Door, which is owned or partly owned by Bob Dylan. And those were okay, but they kind of fell flat. This one, I would recommend.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend this one. If you're a huge Beyonce fan and you want to support what she does, not just her music, but everything else that she sells outside of music, this is definitely one to pick up. It's $90 MSRP, so it's not cheap, but it is a good whiskey. It's not like you're getting yourself something terrible and you're just buying it for the name. You're getting something that's worth drinking. I really enjoy this.
Yeah, I agree. This is a bottle I would probably only buy one time, but it's a great bottle to enjoy with friends.
If we're gonna give it barrels, how many barrels would we give this one?
So I was torn between 4 and 5 on this one, but I'm gonna go with 4 barrels on this one, just because of the price point.
Right.
At $90, it kind of knocks it down for me. If this was more accessible and a little bit cheaper, I'd probably give it that 5. But because of that, I'm gonna go with 4.
You know, I was thinking the exact same thing. We're trying to steer away from half barrels, so I was gonna lean towards either 4 or 5. But I'm gonna give this like a high 4. Because it's up there. This is good.
Yeah.
This is better than I expected. Yeah. I mean, when you start reading about it and you start hearing who made it, how it was made, the mash bill, like I expected good things, but it really paid off. This is really good.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So if you've had a chance to try this one already, let us know what you think in the comments.
Please like and subscribe and share with your friends. Let them know that we're here. We're always trying whiskey and we're trying it for you.
If you got any bottles you want us to try before you go out and buy it, let us know. We'll do that.
In the meantime, cheers.